Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started here, but before we begin, what I would like to do is extend a warm welcome to all of our elected officials. We very much appreciate the dedication you bring to your work representing the citizens and businesses of Anne Arundel County and Maryland's capital city of Annapolis. As Dennis mentioned earlier, this legislative breakfast and forum is a collaborative effort among the 6 chambers of commerce in Anne Arundel County. I would like to recognize my chamber colleagues who helped put this event together with over 300 business people in attendance today. First, I'll begin by recognizing Linda Zahn of the Greater Severna Park and Arnold Chamber of Commerce and Fran Schmidt of the Northern Anne Arundel County Chamber of Commerce. Both Linda and Fran are retiring from their leadership positions after many dedicated years to their organizations and community. Linda and Fran, would you please stand and let's give them a warm round of applause for their dedication. Now, replacing Linda and Fran are Liz Lee at the Greater Severna Park and Arnold Chamber and Yusuf Ahmad at the North Anne Arundel County Chamber of Commerce. If they would please stand and let's give them a warm round of applause and welcome them to the team. Now, as most of you know, MC Dern of the Greater Crofton Chamber of Commerce stepped down earlier this year to devote time to recovery from her illness. And we have Alicia Satoro as the new executive director for the Greater Crofton Chamber of Commerce. Alicia, if you please stand, let's give her a warm welcome. Rounding out the team of chamber colleagues is Raj Kuchikar of the Central Maryland Chamber of Commerce and Julia Howes of the Southern Anne Arundel County Chamber of Commerce, and of course myself of the Anne Arundel County. Raj and Julia, if you please stand and be recognized. Okay, at your seats is the 2018 legislative agenda for the business community, right here. You'll also find paper and pens to write questions for our elected officials to answer later in the program. When you've written your question, please hold up your slip of paper and a chamber staff member will come by your table. You're also welcome to the Q&A during the Q&A period to take the microphone and ask your question directly as well. The flow of the program this morning will include my remarks on some of the issues important to the business community of Anne Arundel County and the city of Annapolis. We will then hear from County Executive Steve Schuh, followed by newly elected Mayor Gavin Buckley, Speaker of the House Michael Busch, Anne Arundel County Delegation Vice Chair Ned Carey, and then Delegate Michael Malone speaking on behalf of House Minority Leader Nick Kipke, who cannot be with us this morning. All of us subscribe to the belief that chambers of commerce are and should be consensus-building business organizations serving Anne Arundel County and the city of Annapolis. As business organizations, we seek a vibrant economy that provides opportunity for entrepreneurs, nurtures business growth and expansion, creates jobs for our citizens, promotes shared responsibility, and fosters an exceptional quality of life for all who work and live in Anne Arundel County and the city of Annapolis. On the state level of government, there are many issues of interest to the business community we will address over the course of the year, but I want to focus on 2 this morning. The first is the revision of the federal tax code that recently came out of Washington, D.C. The changes made will adversely affect a number of states, including our own state of Maryland. Our elected officials must sort through the potential consequences and effects of those changes on our state and make adjustments. Not an easy task that may have many potential outcomes, and most definitely it will have the attention of the business community in Maryland. What is confounding is that the states most adversely affected by the changes made in Washington are, in most cases, the states that produce the most jobs. Think about that. Second, for the past few years, chambers have reminded our elected officials of the vision they adopted in the Maryland Economic Development and Business Climate Commission report, also known as the Augustine Commission. That vision established guiding principles for Maryland's governor and General Assembly to use when considering legislation and regulatory issues impactful to Maryland's business climate. Now, I have to be frank with you. The business community is hard-pressed to understand how the recently adopted paid sick leave mandates and other legislative initiatives under discussion, such as minimum wage increases, restrictive scheduling, and so forth, fit with the spirit of the Commission's intent, which our elected officials brought into a couple of years ago. Now, in Anne Arundel County, we want to commend County Executive Steve Schuh for the urgency and dedication he has given to addressing the opioid crisis. This epidemic impacts our workforce and our businesses in ways we are just beginning to understand. As we did last year, we also want to call attention to Anne Arundel County's transportation infrastructure and transit challenges, which we believe need serious attention and are key to the county's future economic competitiveness. Anne Arundel County is now also engaged in the general development planning process that takes place every 20 years. The business community, through the county's chambers of commerce, was very involved in this process back in the 1990s. We want to have a voice again in that process. The general development plan and the subsequent comprehensive rezoning effort that follows will shape the tax base and the economic competitiveness of Anne Arundel County for the next 20 years. Steve, if the citizens of Anne Arundel County give you a second term, you will have a unique opportunity to shape the destiny of Anne Arundel County long after your tenure has concluded. Your vision is important to us. We encourage you to share it with us and keep us all of us engaged in this important effort. In the city of Annapolis, we have a new mayor with fresh and exciting ideas. That said, Gavin, I'm not completely certain the business community has fully bought into the concept of a Ferris wheel at the same time. Nonetheless, Gavin, Annapolis is due for a renaissance like we saw 50 years ago. Like Anne Arundel County, the city of Annapolis will be undertaking general development planning over the next couple of years, followed by a comprehensive rezoning effort that will present the same opportunities and challenges as in the county. It is important for the city to encourage and attract sustainable and long-term business investment. While the excitement of improving the experience, ambiance, and merchandising of the downtown area are stimulating undertakings, we need to work diligently below the surface to ensure the correctness and consistency of code interpretation with regard to land use, permitting, inspections, and historic preservations requirements. Maintaining and properly funding a functional and effective economic development effort, and gaining a better understanding of how to engage emerging industries wanting to locate to Annapolis. Now, one final note. We are at risk of losing the National Sailing Hall of Fame to Newport, Rhode Island. There was just a very good article in the Capitol the other day about that. If that occurs, it will be a sad day and a sad commentary for our city, county, and state. We call ourselves the sailing capital of the world, yet we are having difficulty living up to that claim. If we do lose the Hall of Fame, there will be some finger-pointing, reasons given, and excuses made. Unfortunately, none of that hand-wringing will identify the real reason for that loss. And this will be a learning experience for us if it happens. So what may that reason be? I submit to you, the reason may be that Annapolis has not figured out what it wants to be yet. For the past couple of decades, We have debated, we've argued, and we've opined on what Annapolis is or should be, while Newport has figured it out and implemented their vision with enviable precision. Our internal competing interests have compromised our ability to find consensus and unify around a common vision for our city, our capital city. Until we figure this out and begin working together, we will have difficulty achieving even the basic things we need and want to do. Gavin, you have a tiger by the tail, no question about it. Our hope is that you can enthusiastically unite this city around a common vision and then organize us to execute that vision with precision. The business community will help you in that effort. You only need to ask us and engage us. Now, on to the introduction of our speakers for this morning. Our first speaker for this morning is County Executive Steve Schuh.
Thank you, Bob, and good morning to everyone. It's always a pleasure to be here with so many job creators and people who are working hard to advance our county. And congratulations to the Chambers. 340 people, did you say, Bob? That's incredible, bigger than last year. Our administration came into office 3 years ago and implemented a lot of new policies and initiatives, and now 3 years down the line we're starting to see some of those programs come to fruition at the local level throughout Arundel County. In Crofton, we broke ground just 2 weeks ago, or a few weeks ago, on the first all-new high school in Arundel County in 35 years. And that's pretty cool. In Odenton, residents are now seeing the long-promised town center arise. In South County, our dredging program is helping to protect the maritime way of life of our South County communities. And in North County, tax credits are helping spur redevelopment of aging commercial corridors. Very exciting. And that progress is also evident at the county level. We've, with the support of the County Council, implemented the largest tax cut and the largest fee cut in county history. We've included 3 property tax rate cuts in our budgets thanks to our revenue tax cap. We've improved teacher and public safety compensation, streamlined government processes, and launched the largest waterway cleanup effort and the largest recreational infrastructure improvement effort in county history. Overall, the county is in a very good place today. We have a $43 billion economy. It's the 4th largest local economy in Maryland. We're growing at 2.5%. Median household income now in Arundel County is approaching $92,000, putting us in the top 25 of 3,000 counties in the United States. Our unemployment rate is 3.3%. We're about 0.5% below the statewide average and almost a full point below the national average. And we have 52,000 businesses now operating here in Arundel County. Everything from manufacturing to cyber to defense, a very well diversified economic base. Now, all that progress didn't happen by accident. I think it's a combination of things. The progress we've made here locally certainly reflects the impact of state policies in recent years that are pro-business and pro-job. A couple of the misfires that Bob mentioned notwithstanding, overall the policy directions have been very good at the state level. And here at the county level, I think our policies are having impact, reducing taxes and fees, investing in education and public safety, reforming county government, and investing in our quality of life. They're all paying dividends. But despite all of this progress, we face immense challenges. Bob mentioned 2 of them. I'm going to comment on both. The first is opioids and the other is land use. The opioid threat is public enemy number 1. I cannot overstate how this is impacting our community. It threatens our workforce, public safety, our very quality of life. We're pursuing every strategy we can think of. We've implemented 35 or 40 new initiatives, dramatically increased our financial resources and human resources devoted to combating the problem. We've done some innovative things like safe stations. Hopefully you've heard about safe stations. Just in case you haven't, let me just say what it is. We have designated every fire station and every police barrack a safe place to go for an addict, who is ready for help. No questions get asked. Nobody gets in trouble. They just get connected to the help they need. We've had over 500 people since April present themselves to a fire station to get connected to services to get their lives back. It's really exciting. And we've now conducted over 100 Not My Child outreach programs throughout the entire county. The word is getting out. I'm very encouraged by that because a critical component of ultimate success in this endeavor is awareness. And I will say, it wasn't too many years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, that there was very little awareness of this problem. Today, I think everybody's aware of the problem. But despite the Herculean efforts of our public safety professionals, the health department, the private sector, the numbers are still getting worse. We're losing. Last year, the numbers just came in, we had 160 fatalities in Anne Arundel County from opiates. And that's just police numbers, police-involved encounters. There are other people who don't get involved with the police who wind up at the hospital and perish that we don't even know about right now with great accuracy. We will know in a few months when the medical examiner completes his work. So the numbers are probably understated by 25, 30% maybe? Yeah, 25 or 30% on top of that. 160 people plus. And last year, 1,100 people suffered an overdose, up 18% from the prior year. That's actually a little higher than the fatalities. The fatalities were up 13%. The only good news in all this is that we're starting to see a significant slowdown in the rate of growth in overdoses and fatalities. So maybe, just maybe, we're seeing the beginning of the end of this thing. Overprescribing of prescription drugs is a big part of the problem. We estimate, this is important, we estimate that 80% of the people we encounter who have suffered an overdose began their journey of addiction with a legitimate prescription drug, like oxycodone or Percocet, stuff that might very well be in your medicine chest. We have got to change prescribing behavior. Physicians prescribing 30 days, 60 days worth, when 4 days is all that the person really needs. And these drugs sit in the medicine chest, end up getting diverted. That's why we recently filed legal action in state court against opioid manufacturers, distributors, and pill mill doctors who helped ignite and accelerate this epidemic, and I'm encouraged that other jurisdictions around the state are doing so as well. I believe that victory in this epidemic is going to require a team effort, and I feel very fortunate that we have really strong allies like Governor Hogan, Speaker Busch, and Minority Leader Nick Kipke. The other pressing challenge is land use. As our economy continues to expand, and Anne Arundel being the attractive place that it is, people want to come and live here. And the forces of development put stress on our roads, our schools, on public safety. And to manage those forces, our administration is committed to smart growth in areas where we have adequate infrastructure, and we are equally committed to preserving our rural lands. We've commenced the once every 10-year general development planning process. Our planning and zoning personnel at this very moment are fanning out across the county, engaging in listening sessions with citizens to develop the 2019 GDP. This document will map out land use for the next decade, and we do hear frequently from citizens who are grappling with changes in their communities, with congestion and other factors, and we are listening and determined to rectify the issues. The next 5 years will be crucial as we look to preserve our citizens' quality of life, and will do so, I believe, through a responsible balance of moderate, measured development and land preservation. As I said at the beginning, I think we are making progress. We face significant challenges. We're hitting them head on. I do hope that the governor and the General Assembly and local leaders will work together over the next 90 days of legislative session to address those problems and to improve the quality of life of our citizens. Thank you again for being here this morning, for having me.
Okay, like County Executive Schuh and Mayor and Governor Hogan, Gavin is a business person who has taken the plunge into public office. We are fortunate as a business community to have individuals such as Steve, Larry, and Gavin with business experience assume public leadership roles. Granted, running a government is not like running a business, nor should it be exclusively that way. However, it is good to know that our elected leadership understands the challenges we face in business as public policy is made. I would like to welcome for the first time our newly elected mayor, Gavin Buckley. Gavin, welcome.
But I am an immigrant, and this is the greatest country in the world, and this is where things like this can happen. Guys can come into town and start a coffee shop, and next thing be the mayor of one of the oldest state capitals in the country. So I'm grateful for all of you, especially the ones of you out there who voted for me. Thank you. So when I decided to run, the first thing I did, one of the first things I did is I went to Steve Schuh's office and I said, Steve, I'm going to run. I know you've got this Republican-Democrat thing to deal with. I said, but look, you know, I will be a good partner. I'm a small business owner. You're a small business owner. I've been where you've been, and so I said I will be a good partner because I'm an out of the box thinker, you know, and we need that sort of stuff. So I think this is an exciting time. We have a governor who's a business owner. We have a county executive who's a business owner. And we have a mayor who's a business owner, and we understand those things. Our city does not have the best reputation when it comes to starting a business. And we have to change that. What are we doing wrong in the city of Annapolis when everybody feels like a victim? When you're just a resident and you're trying to put a porch on the back of your house, or you're a developer trying to bring a project to the city, or you're a guy trying to start a business, we have to turn that thinking around and make people think that this is a great place to come and do business. I'll be a good person like that because I believe in private-public partnerships and I believe in civic investment. So we will be looking for partners to come to Annapolis and help us achieve things. At this moment in time, I think is a great time for Main Street in America. We have great opportunities. In an Amazon world, you know, you can press a button and anything in the mall will come to your door the next day. But we in Annapolis, we have a real Main Street. We have real history. We have real water. We have real people that live here. And so you can't replicate that experience on an Amazon transaction. But you have to make your Main Street special. So I'm going to be working on making our Main Street special. We have so much untapped potential in the city of Annapolis. We have a great energy behind our campaign. And I'm going to throw out a couple of ideas for you that we're going to be working on in the next 4 years. I'm going to throw a lot of ideas out in the next 4 years, so I probably won't get re-elected. So, but I look to the cities around the country, the Burlingtons, the Charlestons, the Fredericks, these cities, Boulders, these cities, these cachet cities around the country. I look to what they're doing, the events that they do, the different things that happen in those cities that when we go to those cities and we go, this is a great idea, why can't we do this in Annapolis? Well, we can do this in Annapolis, you just have to have the vision to do these things. So for Charleston, for instance, you know, Spoleto is an amazing event. In other cities. So what I'm going to be working on, and can I just apologise here, I'm not a public speaker and I'm only 5 weeks on the job. So one of the first things that I'm going to be working on after we fix the market house is a music festival for the city of Annapolis. We need a defining music festival in this town. The city of Annapolis has musical roots that other towns would kill for. For 3 decades, the coolest people in the planet came to this town. From the Supremes through to Hendrix came to Annapolis. James Brown, the Jay-Z of his day, used to come to this place all the time. I know you guys all listen to Jay-Z. So we're going to do a defining music festival on the lower field of St. John's. It's going to be called Annapolis Rising. And it's going to be, we're shooting for the 21st of September. It's going to start on Friday night. We're going to have the Annapolis Symphony. play the catalogue of Armand Ertegun and Jack Holtzman, the two guys that went to college in this school, in this town, the guys that started Atlantic Records and Elektra Records. On their labels were the Doors, the Rolling Stones, Aretha Franklin, Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, Led Zeppelin, on the labels of two guys that went to school in Annapolis. We have to let people know that. We have to say they went on and started record labels and changed the world, not in spite of Annapolis, but because of Annapolis. People need to know that history. That history is going to come through in this music event. On that Friday night will be the symphony performing songs from their catalogues, the Doors, the Rolling Stones, Aretha Franklin, those sorts of things. On the Saturday we will have the main event, and then on Sunday we'll have a gospel picnic on the same stage on the lower field of St. John's. That's on the 21st of September. That's the day we're shooting for. So that's one thing. I support the City Dock Master Plan. For 2 years people worked on the City Dock Master Plan. I campaigned that I'm for a park, not a parking lot at City Dock. So we need to get the parking underground. I support the Phillips site as an opportunity site for a boutique hotel. We've come up with a concept called the Maritime. If we create a boutique hotel called the Maritime, we can put all the parking underground and we can create a park at City Dock. At City Dock, that park would be called a Lafayette Square. That park could have a fountain in, it could have spray parks, it could have, and they're those little spray parks that come out of the ground. You've seen them in cities around the country. Things that your kids can run through on a boiling hot day. And they build community. They get people to come downtown. We need things that get families to come downtown. So look out for that hotel idea. I'm sure it's going to be easy to get across the line. What could go wrong? Another across the aisle kind of thing that I want to do, and I'm just telling you the fun things here, is I want to bring back the Annapolis Triathlon. I reached out to Steve the other day and I said, Steve, I've got an idea. And to the governor. I said, why don't we do a triathlon together, right? We can get the governor to do the cycle leg of the triathlon. We can, and as part of his comeback story, we can get Steve to do the swim. And the more that Steve gets in the water, I'm sure the more he's going to want to take care of it. And I could do the run, and we could say, look, here's guys from different parties, from different branches of government. They come together to achieve things because we all want the same thing. We want this to be the best state in the country. We want this to be the best county in the country, and we want Annapolis to be the best city in the country. Thanks for indulging me, and I'll pass it off. Thank you.
Okay. We here in Anne Arundel County are very fortunate to have seniority among the ranks of elected officials in the Maryland General Assembly. One cannot be in a more senior role than our own Michael Busch as Speaker of the House of Delegates for the Maryland General Assembly. Mike, we are happy to have you join us again this year, and we are very glad to see you back in good health. Mike, welcome.
Didn't know I was going to follow a stand-up comedian. I mean, I voted for Gavin, but I didn't know he was that funny. Of course, he didn't tell you where the Ferris wheel was going to go either. So we're looking forward to that. Matter of fact, I can remember when James Brown came to Carter's Beach and Sparrow's Beach years ago. And I see some people here with hair the color of mine who must have remembered it as well. But they were fine times in the city of Annapolis, and I think Gavin has a lot of great ideas, and I think it's a good idea for us to decide what the city of Annapolis is going to be, because we have so much potential. We have great councilmen, everyone here as well. First thing I want to do, because I do get elected by these people, can all the members of the legislature who are here today please stand up? I don't have to twist most of their arms. They're all pretty good this year. And have a good delegation. We work well together. It's an 8-7 split, but we've done a great job, I think, of working together, both the House and the Senate, to do what's in the best interest of the people of Anne Arundel County. Had a good working relationship with Steve Schuh as the county executive, and we are working very hard with the county executive to deal with the opioid crisis. And you know, he described it very, very actively, about 80% that get hooked have prescription drugs. And then unfortunately, when they go off the drugs, they're still addicted. They turn to stronger drugs like fentanyl and heroin, and when those two are put together, they become lethal. The unfortunate thing is most of that heroin and fentanyl comes in through the port of Baltimore, and really from China, and then is easily taken down I-97 through the state of Maryland into DC and Virginia. So we do know that when we identify these people that are going to the fire halls now and everything, that most of them, if they're addicted to heroin and fentanyl, have to go into some kind of treatment plan. And we in the General Assembly are looking at some way to either partner with the private sector to come up with some areas where we increase the number of beds for treatment. It takes about 7 to 12 months once you're addicted to get off of heroin and fentanyl. It can be done, but if you don't get off of it, your life expectancy is about 1 year, I think, in that seat. So about 1 year. So we've had an increase in deaths here in the county and across the country. There's more deaths from opioid abuse and heroin and fentanyl than there is people dying of gunshots and gun wounds. And more people are dying of opioids and fentanyl than by automobile accidents, which is a tragedy, and it continues to increase in the country. It's not just here, but it's everywhere. But we have to deal with it in our community to make things work. Now, this year's General Assembly, we come in, and the first thing we have to deal with is the federal tax bill. Maryland probably gets negatively affected more than any other state in the country because of the way we have our state and local income taxes and our property taxes. And unless the General Assembly acts, everyone in this room is going to lose about $680 million collectively across the state of Maryland in exemptions. So we have to act in the General Assembly to make sure that you can continue to have the exemptions that you take. We think we can mitigate about $1 billion of the tax impact that's come from this federal tax plan. We think we're going to be able to narrowly, and this is a very narrow path to take to deal with charitable contributions, to have continued charitable contributions increased. We started our work on this already, and we've contacted outside CPAs from the CPAs of Maryland. Half of them don't understand what's in the federal tax bill. The idea that everybody's going to file a postcard, I don't think that's going to happen. We believe that we can save 92% of Marylanders' money this year with what comes out of the General Assembly. We're looking forward to working with the governor on this. It'll be bipartisan support because everybody wants to make sure that we can do everything for the Maryland taxpayer. And the reason I think that everyone knows is because all the coastal states, whether it's New York or Massachusetts, New Jersey, California, they're the ones most negatively impacted. And that was the reason why all the Republican congressmen in those states voted against the bill, because they knew they were going to have a tough time there. So we're going to work very hard for the next 90 days, and that's the first thing we're going to try to mitigate. We just got the budget, and it looks like the budget is, except for a few little areas of disagreement, is going to be moving along smoothly. We'll balance the budget by the end of the year. We'll continue to fund our schools, our hospitals, and our healthcare delivery system. I'd like to say that, last year Arundel got open heart surgery. They're one of the great regional hospitals in the state of Maryland. Tori Bayless does a wonderful job there with her staff, and I want to thank her personally for all her support. But people identify with their school systems, they identify with their hospitals and their healthcare delivery system more than anything else, and that's the priority we take when we go to Annapolis. There's other things, hopefully, that we can do to improve the quality of life in the community in Anne Arundel County, because it is a great county and a great community. And, I just look forward to working with my colleagues on both sides of the aisle, Governor Hogan, County Executive Schuh, and the ever-effervescent mayor of the city of Annapolis, Gavin Buckley, who's brought a spark to the city. Anyway, I'll stay around for any questions, threats, accusations that anyone would have. I'm very proud to be here and represent the citizens of Anne Arundel County and the citizens of Annapolis.